Welcome back. I'm Bob Massi, the Property Man. You know, one great thing about doing this show is that I get to see the way people live and how it's changing. Successful communities are able to figure out what kind of lifestyle folks want, and they give it to them. In the early 50s, William Levitt built Levittown, and the modern American suburb was born. People began flocking to the suburbs. Raising families there and finding a way to commute into the city for work was a great time in America.
Well, they're running out of land and people are tired of sitting in their cars.
Now, things are shifting again, and a big part of that is what we call transit-oriented development.
Transit-oriented development is flipping development on its head.
Transit first, and then build around transit, whether it's retail, commercial development, or residential. So it serves as a central gathering place, and then you build around. What it is not is having a development already established and then putting some form of transit, retrofitting it in.
So rather than a transit stop just being a drop-off point, it's now becoming a nexus of economic development to ensure that within a quarter to a half mile of a transit stop, you're going to find mixed-use development that vertically integrates things like retail, apartments, offices, commercial development. That way people will walk instead of taking other forms of transportation once they get off mass transit.
And Orlando, Florida was the perfect place that turned this concept into reality.
Orlando has always touted itself as a place to live, work, and play. The problem, historically, is that we've had sprawl. So the live, work, and play was separate. You worked one place, you lived another place, and typically you played in a different place.
The idea was we had to grow smarter, and we really needed to focus on transit and then transit nodes. We were one of the few communities 10 years ago that didn't have any form of commuter rail or light rail system.
Then came Sunrail. The state of Florida bought a 61-mile section of an existing freight rail line to create a commuter service.
It was public money that built the Sunrail system, and then it's private money largely that is building and investing in the areas that are close to the stations.
And this will allow people to be able to live much closer to a transit that will get them to their workplace, get them home at night, without having to jump on the highway in their cars.
Residents can shop around the station. They can get to work using the station, and they do it in a sense of walkability.
Sunrail has had a huge impact on downtown Orlando.
We have probably a couple $1 billion worth in downtown that's associated specifically with the fact that we have Sunrail.
It creates sort of a circle of how we want development to happen. Within a quarter mile of a transit stop, we call that the transit core. That's where you find medium to high density and intensity development. And as you go out, it starts to decrease. The logic behind it is that people really won't walk more than 10 minutes. So we have to cluster that development as closely as possible to transit as we can.
Well, Sunrail has been in existence now since May of 2014. The impact is yet to be fully felt. But as you can see behind me, it's already being felt with the development of the 172-acre Florida Hospital Health Village. They see this as a way for people to be very close to the health care that they want. It's going to take 15 years to build this all out in the end. There will be residential, 550 units. There will be commercial real estate, hundreds of thousands of square feet.
Studies within the last couple of years have shown that about 60% of millennials would be willing to live in a smaller house if it meant less than a 20-minute commute.
The millennial generation all want to be close to where they work, close to where they want to play, close to where they want to shop. They're not interested in driving long distances. This is going to drive urban-oriented developments all across the country.
Younger people are demanding this, and so I don't see a lot of growth that is not going to have as a key component transit-oriented development.